Hi guys, welcome back to ASX Market Watch. Thanks very much for joining me today. It's really great to have you checking out all the markets with me, and it's basically a great way to pass the time. Spend a couple of minutes of your time on this weekend, see where everything's heading. And once we know where the indices are heading, it's a good idea to take positions in stocks in the same direction, according to William O'Neill anyway, because he believes that 3 out of 4 stocks will follow the overall markets. And because of that, let's check it out. In fact, there's not really a lot going on except for 2 things, and 2 really important things that I really just want to tell you about, and they're continuation patterns, because we're seeing one on the All Ordinaries and one on the Seng, and then we're seeing, actually, it's all about chart patterns today. Let's just be quite honest, and I'll get straight into it. Let's waste no more time. It's all about the continuation patterns, because they don't often occur. It's either trending or forming a pattern, and now we've got these patterns popping up. So let's get into it. This is the All Ordinaries right here, and as you can see, like this is a weekly chart at the moment. This is a daily chart now, so each one of these bars is one day. And I'm just going to enlarge this a little bit for you as well. So what we've got is a downward move starting from April and going to May. It really was just short and sharp, like basically 800 points. Shazam, there it was. Scared a lot of people out. And now look at this. The market's basically consolidating in a sideways pattern. Now what happens when the market consolidates? It is usually called a continuation pattern. If you're an Elliott wave trader, you would usually call it an ABC correction. Now what happens when we get a continuation pattern? Well, as the name suggests, the market usually, when it breaks out, it will continue on downwards. So we've got our downward move, ABC correction, and now all we're waiting for is a confirmation of this next downward move, which for me personally would be, and I'll show you exactly where it would be actually. There we go. So it's crossed the downtrend line, but it needs to make a lower peak and a lower trough. The trigger would be a close below 4,400 on the All Ordinaries. Yes, it would. Now, it really has been flirting with that level all week, but it hasn't been able to close below it. And that's really probably the most important level for myself at the moment. A close below that would give us a short-term sell signal, which would then indicate that it would be highly probable that the market would continue down from the continuation pattern. Now, where is it likely to go from the continuation pattern? Very simple. We'll just use a quick Fibonacci and Gann projection. Guys, these are mathematical numbers that Gann used and R.N. Elliott also used. He used Fibonacci. 25%, 50%, 61%, 75%. Some of the strongest levels that I use, and 100%. Of the previous move. So really, we've got between 4,100 to 3,800 would be one of the most the sharpest move that you could possibly expect. And then of course we've got our support at 4,200. So basically, yeah, anywhere around that level is where it could go if we get that trigger signal. At least if you were to base it on continuation patterns. The next one is the Seng. Just really quickly, guys, as well, because the Seng is quite exciting. We've got this downtrend line. Look at where it found resistance. Shazam! At the downtrend line. Of course it did, because trend lines provide support and resistance in the future. Now, I had called that at around 22,000 for basically from when this move started, that it would find resistance at that trend line level. Obviously, the trend line is a moving target because it is it's dynamic. It moves as the market moves, as it goes on in the future. So I called it at 22,000, and it was about 21,800, obviously because the trend line had gone down a bit further. But still in a short-term uptrend. For the Seng, what we're looking for is a close below the uptrend line here. So we're looking for a close around about 20,400. If it was to close below that would be a short-term sell signal on the Seng. But in the meantime, check this out. What have we got here? This little continuation pattern. That's right, but it's going to the upside, this one. So the Seng is looking at a continuation pattern to the upside. At least that's what it looks like to me. That's the way I'm going to call it at the moment. And from a continuation pattern, what do we see? We see that the market, if it was to break out to the upside, in this case, which would be above 22,000, exactly, you guys are getting it. You guys are all over it, actually. Where could it go to? Could go to 24,000 to 30,000. So that's the potential for the Hang Seng based on continuation pattern and even Elliott wave, basically, which is just looking at these sorts of patterns and similar ABC corrections as well. Next, the FTSE and the Dow Jones. Now these guys are really, really similar at the moment. The reason being is because what we've got is a different type of pattern. And I'll just see if I can quickly draw it in here. 1, 2... Here's our next one. We've got a shoulder on the left there that I've drawn. This is the head, and what have we got now? Our other shoulder. At least that's potentially what we're seeing. So as you know, guys, most of you will know that's called a head and shoulders pattern. It's usually a topping pattern. And the thing about the FTSE, if I just enlarge this, is that we've already got our lower peak and lower trough, which is a confirmation of a short-term sell signal on the FTSE, closed below the trend line and made a lower peak and a lower trough. Even though it did close on its highs, which is a strong sign, it has still closed below the previous trough, which is basically the solid signal that I use, or the if I was to trade just purely by the signals, that's what I would be using. So that's my personal short-term sell signal on the FTSE as of this week, basically as of Friday. Now, the last one is the Dow Jones, and really similar stuff for the Dow Jones as well. If I just quickly enlarge that, as you can see, we've got shoulder, head, next shoulder potentially forming as well, and the Dow Jones would have to close below 10,194 for a short-term sell signal on the Dow Jones as well, just based on our trend line charts, just like I showed you with the FTSE. So those two are really similar at the moment. There we are. There's that short-term uptrend line, and we just need a lower peak and a lower trough. The only thing with the FTSE and the Dow Jones that I really want to mention to you guys really quickly to be wary of is someone or something, I don't know who or what it is supporting this market in the major places like the Americas and Europe. So Dow Jones is being supported at 10,000. 10,000 is a massive level for the Dow Jones. Look at it. It just is almost impossible to stay below it for too long. If it does start trading below it significantly, could be in trouble as stops start to get triggered, and basically the snowball will start to roll. In other words, the FTSE, really similar stuff with the FTSE, but the level that's being supported, again, I don't know by who or by what, but the level it's being supported at is 5,000. Now, this just could purely be a technical or a psychological level, but where is it? There it is there. So 5,000. As you can see, really cannot stay below it. It just means that it's basically being supported by someone, something buying, either that or just regular investors find that as a psychological point that really they don't want the FTSE to trade below for very long. So be wary of that, guys, if you're looking at the short-term sell signals as well. I hope that helps. Actually, there's a whole lot really that we went into today, despite the market being in this sideways movement for the last 8 to 10 months, which is a little bit annoying, but hey, that is what happens. When it breaks out, we will totally be there, and that's the main thing. You got to be on your guard, and you got to be ready for when the signals happen. Really looking forward to when that does happen. Until then, I'll see you next week, guys, and happy trending. Hope all is well, and it'll be great to check out the markets again. See you then.